Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. This is the Planning Committee for the Municipality of Tweed, and following the first section of the meeting, it will be a meeting of Committee of Adjustment. So we have a bit of business to get through before we get to the discussion, so please bear with us. So our first order of business is the land acknowledgement. The Municipality of Tweed recognizes that our work takes place on traditional Indigenous territories, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We recognize and respect the history, languages, and cultures of the First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all Indigenous peoples whose presence continues to enrich our communities. Okay, first order of business will be the attendance. If we could start with the staff.
Lucas Wales, Deputy Clerk, Zoning Administrator.
Lori Crellin, Clerk.
Peter Valiquette, Council.
Roxanne Bailey.
Phyllis Savoy.
Jeff Robinson.
Jim Peterson.
All right, so all members of the committee are present. I'd like to outline the procedure for the meeting so everyone is clear the format. It is being recorded so that it will be available if you at a later date want to watch it on YouTube, you can certainly do that. When we get to the rezoning application for discussion being Countryman Road, the applicants and their presenter will provide the information in a presentation to the committee. When they're finished, anyone who wishes to speak in support of the proposed application will be invited to do so. Those who are opposed to the application will also be invited to do so. You'll have to go to the mic. Please state your name for the records, hoping that you signed in so that if you want further information that's distributed, your information is there. We're not going to be asking questions back and forth. It's not going to happen. So the presentations will be made, clarification will get there. After that point, the committee will ask questions. If there are things that were not clearly explained or not addressed, I will ask if there's anyone in the room that wishes to raise that issue. If it hasn't been asked and answered, then we'll ask the appropriate person then to answer that question. Then the committee will take a vote as to how we will present this forward to council. This is not the final decision. The final decision is not ours. We make a recommendation to council and it will go to the next meeting, August the 12th. And what the committee will do will either say to council, we recommend that you approve it with the following conditions, or we recommend that you don't approve it for these reasons. And then it goes to council. The decision is solely that of council. So you'll have another opportunity to participate. And then from there, when that's completed, if you would like to stay for Committee of Adjustment, you're welcome. If you'd like to leave, you're welcome to do that as well. Okay, so I hope that's clear for everybody. We want to keep it as friendly as we can. So please keep that in mind. Okay. Approval of the agenda that was presented to the members of the committee was distributed. Motion to accept the agenda as presented, Roxanne, seconded by Peter. Errors, omission, issues arising from the agenda. None. All those in favor? Okay, the agenda is set. Minutes that were also attached in the package from the previous meeting of June 25th. Motion to accept the minutes as presented, Jim, seconded by Jack. Anything needing clarification? Nothing. All those in favor? The minutes are carried. Disclosure of pecuniary. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Are there any disclosures of pecuniary interest from the committee members for the items on the agenda? None? Okay. That just means that nobody that's on this committee has any financial interest or any gain from anything that will be discussed at the meeting. If they did, they'd have to leave the meeting, declare it and leave the meeting. Okay, so the first item of business is the public planning meeting, which is why you're here. So zoning amendment ZA 1425, the applicants are 2607325 Ontario Limited, the authorized agent, RFA planning consultant, Kara and Daryl Enright. The location, 17 Countryman Road, Concession 8, part of Lot 9. The purpose of the application is a proposed zoning bylaw amendment to amend the current zoning to rural industrial 7 holding, which is R1-7H, to permit an abattoir and butcher shop. Furthermore, the hydrological study to demonstrate sufficient water will be added to the holding symbol before that can be removed. This requirement is addition to site plan approval. And let's see. Okay, there are people that had sent letters and we'll get to those. Okay, so can we have a motion to put this item forward, mover and seconder, Roxanne and Peter? Okay, so the Enrights and your representative are here. Would you like to come to the mic and make your presentation, please? Push it. The presentation that they have is coming up on the TVs. This is really bad, but if you want to pull your chair around, or if you can see the one that Lucas has over here, we'll follow along that.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Go ahead.
Good morning. My name is Dale Egan. I'm a registered professional planner and a planner with RFA Planning Consultant. RFA Planning Consultant has been retained by Kara and Daryl Enright to provide professional planning services in support of an application for zoning bylaw amendment pertaining to 17 Countryman Road. I'm here this morning to provide a presentation on this application for zoning bylaw amendment. Next slide, please, Lucas. Thank you. So the subject lands are owned by an Ontario number company, which is owned and operated by Mr. Chris Rashad. The property is to be purchased by Kara and Daryl Enright. Both Kara and Daryl are here today, and Mr. Rashad is here as well this morning. Next, perfect, excellent. The subject property is located on the southwestern corner of the intersection of Highway 37 and Countryman Road. Subject property is currently designated in the county's official plan as rural/waterfront and is currently zoned as a special rural industrial 7 with a holding symbol zone in the municipality of Tweed zoning bylaw. The subject lands are previously subject to an official plan and zoning bylaw amendment to allow for dry industrial uses, specifically for the use of commercial self-storage and warehousing space. The subject lands are surrounded by a number of existing aggregate pit operations, a rural industrial use, rural residential use, and various other rural land uses. Subject lands are currently located in a rural area of the municipality where rural land uses are promoted. Next slide, please, Lucas. So in terms of existing conditions, the site's currently vacant. There's an existing driveway which crosses the site, and it's basically bound by Highway 37 to the east with Countryman Road to the north. The site slopes from the west to the east towards Highway 37. Next slide, please, Lucas. In terms of the proposed development and zoning bylaw amendment, the proposed development is for an abattoir and butcher shop. When we talk about the abattoir, it's more of a small scale abattoir. It's not going to be large scale like a meat kind of plant that you think of when you hear the word abattoir. So it's going to be more small scale, and there will be a retail commercial butcher shop associated with it. So a single new building is proposed for the site, covering an area of 700 square meters with approximately 582 square meters to be used for the abattoir and approximately 118.4 square meters for the retail butcher shop use. So there's a new gravel parking and driveway around the entire building is proposed. There's stormwater management proposed to the east, and that will provide stormwater management conveyance to ensure post-development runoff equals pre-development conditions and that there's no flooding or anything generated from the proposed development. The site plan also illustrates where a 3-meter landscape buffer is to be located. The intent of the buffer and where it's shown is to provide landscaping while also providing a buffer, but also allowing for a retail exposure for the proposed butcher shop. Next slide, please, Lucas. So this slide shows the draft floor plan. So I just want to note that the draft floor plan is still subject to approval from OMAFA. Essentially, the abattoir will need their approval before it can be finalized, before it can operate, as it will need the licensing. So this does show the retail area, which is basically the box that kind of projects out the front of the building. There's also office space, washrooms, staff rooms, And if you see, there's a lot of storage space as well and freezer space like that. So when you actually look at the abattoir use, it's further to the back, to the rear of the building, which would technically be the south. So really there can't be that many livestock that are processed here at one time. Next slide, please, Lucas. In terms of, I do apologize, I must have sent the wrong presentation, but that's fine. We'll make it work. So in terms of work initiated, we held a pre-consultation with the municipality of Tweed on April 15th of 2025. And from that meeting, we determined that the following was required for a complete application: a planning justification report, a site plan drawing, traffic impact brief, stormwater management report, and a stage 1 and 2 archaeological assessment for the site. So those have been completed to date and were submitted with the application. Next slide, please, Lucas. So in terms of the planning context and the policies that are relevant to the property, the provincial planning statement came into effect on October 20th of 2024. The PPS guides land use planning with the province and provides policy direction on matters of provincial interest. The property is located outside the settlement area boundary for the village of Tweed, and therefore the lands are located within a rural area of the municipality. The PPS encourages the diversification of the economic base through goods and services within the rural area. And the PPS also permits agricultural related uses and other land uses within the rural area. Development that can be sustained by rural service levels should be promoted. So as noted by the chair at the start of this meeting, the owners are proposing to complete a hydrogeological study to ensure there's sufficient groundwater resources and that a septic system can be installed on the site with no negative impacts. And that would be required to remove a holding symbol at a later date. That would also look at the draw on the groundwater from the proposed use before that whole, and that would all have to be done to the satisfaction of the municipality and the county before any development could actually occur. So the proposed applications are consistent with the provincial planning statement based in our opinion. Next slide, please, Lucas. The subject lands are designated within Hastings County's official plan as the rural and waterfront land use designation. The rural land use designation allows for rural commercial and agricultural related uses. The proposed abattoir is considered an agricultural related use and a permitted use within the rural land use designation, as it will benefit from being the rural area and provide a service to farms in the area. Proposed butcher shop is also a rural commercial use and will provide a retail storefront for local products relating to the rural economy. It is recognized that the subject lands are located in an area of significant groundwater recharge. As I had previously mentioned in the last slide, a hydrogeological study will be undertaken to ensure there's no negative impacts as well on the significant groundwater recharge area. The proposed abattoir and butcher shop is not considered a sensitive land use and is not anticipated to preclude or hinder nearby aggregate extractive operations. So there are pits in the area, and we don't anticipate that this to be a sensitive land use like a residential use that would be considered sensitive towards those pits. So we don't see it as a limiting factor for the pits in the area. Next slide, please, Lucas. In terms of the municipality zoning bylaw, the site is currently zoned as a special rural industrial 7 holding zone. The current zone allows for rural industrial uses, including a commercial self-storage facility and warehousing. The proposed zoning bylaw amendment is to amend the current provisions of the rural industrial 7 holding zone to specifically permit the use of an abattoir and butcher shop, as well as reduce the requirement of planting a buffer strip along Highway 37 Countryman Road as shown on the site plan, and to include an additional requirement of completing a hydrogeological study in order to remove the holding symbol that's already on the property. The proposed development will comply with all other regulations for permitted uses, such as setbacks for the rural industrial zone. Next slide, please, Lucas. So just to quickly, we have received some of the public comments. I'm just going to quickly address them and can go into more detail later if required. So there were concerns about pollution to the groundwater and use of groundwater. So as I had mentioned earlier in the presentation, the proposed development and the abattoir use itself will be subject to licensing through OMAFA, and it will have to undergo through the site plan process with the municipality as well. So that at that point, more detailed drawings will be prepared showing the site layout and any storage tanks, water supply, septic systems, anything along those lines. So the issues with groundwater will be addressed then. The hydrogeological study will also look at that, the water pollution and use of groundwater. So no development can actually occur on the property until the holding symbol is removed and until that hydrogeological study is completed. In terms of like the liquid product generated from the abattoir use, all waste will be in a self-contained tank and be fully indoor operation. So there's no anticipated impact to groundwater because it's going to be fully separated from that and shouldn't have any opportunity to mix. Some concerns of odor were identified, and there were some notes about the proposed smoking room on the floor plan. I have since confirmed with the owners that the smoking room will be more of an oven. It's not going to be an actual smoker with like a wood burning or pellets or anything like that. They use a liquid smoke product. So it's more of a larger oven, and eventually the pressure and air is released outside. So there will be some scent from that, but we don't anticipate it to be an obnoxious odor or anything like that, that is normally considered with the abattoir. So all waste from the abattoir will also be contained in a self-contained refrigerator container and removed bi-weekly from the site. So everything will be contained essentially indoors, and it won't be left in the open for that odor to basically blow away. There are also comments related to property values and future development. So we don't anticipate that this use will impact nearby pits or quarries. It's not a sensitive receptor, so we don't see that impacting or limiting the ability of nearby pits and quarries. Additionally, the lands in the area are generally designated as rural, and we also don't see this proposed use as being something that's going to limit rural development in the area. So in summary, the proposed zoning bylaw amendment will allow for the use of an abattoir and butcher shop. The proposed development is compatible with existing uses within the rural area, and the development of the abattoir is considered an agricultural related use, and the butcher shop is a rural commercial use. The applications are consistent with the provincial planning statement. They conform to the county's official plan, and they will comply with the municipality of Tweed zoning bylaw and represent good land use planning. I'll be able to answer any questions if the committee may have that later. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. And right, Daryl or Kurt, did you have anything you wanted to add, or you're comfortable with that? Okay. Is there anyone else attending who wishes to speak in favor of the proposal?
Yeah, I'll speak up.
Okay, Chris, go up to the mic, please.
Good morning. I'm Chris. I have the home hardware across the road from the proposed site. I just wanted to put on record that I am in favor of this. Obviously, I wouldn't sell the land to them if I wasn't. I probably had some of the same concerns that we're going to hear today. With smell, that was probably the big one for me with our business. But after speaking with the Enrights and doing more research on my own, they kind of put that to rest for me. So that was put to ease for me. So I'm confident with my business being across the road that it won't be affected. But in that matter at all, and I'm a big advocate for investment in Tweed. I think Tweed for the longest time has gone in the wrong direction personally. I think we should be championing anybody who is wanting to make a significant investment in this community. That's going to create numerous jobs. It's going to increase the tax base. So truthfully, I only see the positives coming out of this. So I just wanted to put that on record. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Members of the gallery that wish to speak to the issue, I'd like to go in the order of the letters that we received. So if the people that wrote them want to come and address it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine as well. Knowing that everyone on the committee got a copy of your document as well as the applicants. So the first one we got was from Debbie Holmes. Debbie, did you wish to address? Okay. Okay, so, and then just give me a second. And then, no, you go up there, and then it would be Travis Holmes. And then, okay. And then, Ms. Swayze, did you want? Okay. And then anyone else that's going to want to address the committee in your name?
Jim Cole
Okay.
and Beef Farmers of Hastings, we sent a letter in.
Oh, okay, through the end, right. Got it. Okay, thank you. Okay, and then if you change your mind, put your hand up and we'll get you on the list. Okay, go ahead, please. If you could state your name for the
Yeah.
record.
I'm Glenn Holmes, live at 6492 Highway 37. Well, our concerns are, we have a gravel pit on the property at 6492. It is a pit and quarry license with drilling and blasting. The right and the boundary comes right to our driveway, which would make it right across the road from this abattoir thing. And we're worried about it in the abattoir thing, in the butcher shop, impacting our future operations. And then my other question was the future developments. Within the same setbacks, as the setbacks are gonna be increased after the abattoir is constructed. Because you're applying for minimum setbacks on this compared to the provincial setback. And the risk to the water table. And odor, is a concern from the processing of the smoking the meat. Debbie and me are not opposed to a butcher shop, but an abattoir we are,
Okay,
okay?
thank you.
You need to tell them about the water, that you're out of water from the test.
Well, our well is dry today, so whether somebody's been pumping the well over there, but our well is dry as of today.
Sherry?
I'm Brenda. And I actually have a few things after doing some more research too.
That's fine.
So I'm Sherry Holmes, I'm speaking on behalf of my husband and I, Travis. We live diagonal to the proposed construction at 654. So I will read most of what I wrote. So we have written and we want to voice that we are formally opposed to the proposed construction of an abattoir and butcher shop personally, less than 300 meters from our residential property. I wish to highlight several well-founded concerns related to odor, water quality, land classification, property value, future development, and traffic. These concerns are substantiated by the project's planning, justification report, and supported by recognized environmental standards. So I know the Enrights actually showed up at our house to, I don't know why, but they did talk about the odor nuisance, and from your project planner is contradicting what they come and propose, because it was talking about a smoker. So I just wondered, hopefully that could be clarified a little bit further. Odor is a significant concern for our area, living in such close proximity to an abattoir and butcher shop. Anybody that goes near a butcher store, you can smell it outside. It is quite odorous. Sorry, I'm not feeling well, so I'm a little shaky today. The planning justification report itself acknowledges potential nuisance from odors generated during the killing process as limited on page 55, and further notes that orders from byproduct sort included present, which is listed on page 60. In addition to continuous odors from waste byproducts, there will also be emissions during the hauling of animal waste and feces away from the site, which can become particularly intense and unpleasant. Research and regulatory documents confirm that odor, though sometimes considered a local nuisance, is often cited as the most persistent day-to-day environmental problems for slaughterhouses, and they can be substantially degrade the quality of life here by residents. We have a concern, we don't want to smell that. We live diagonal across. We already notice an impact from our shops being across the road. We'd like to be able to go outside in our front yard. While some people may enjoy the smell of smoked meat, regular emissions from the on-site meat smoking, it can become irritating. Water pollution risk. My father-in-law did mention that they are conducting their study today. So across the road at the proposed land proposal, they're draining out the well, which is impacting wells in the local area. My father-in-law's well is dry, which impacts us because my father-in-law already gets part of his water from our house. So now he's gonna have to go get all of their water. So it's now affecting our well also to supply 3 houses. Another grave concern is the potential for runoff from the abattoir site that contaminates surface and groundwater resources. I know that the planner just said that that wouldn't be the case, but how can they guarantee that there wouldn't be? The Stokel Lake is also near there. If the picture was brought up from the presentation, there is an EP zone directly across the road. Underneath the ground, the water trench goes directly across the road, which impacts both of our properties, Glen and Debbie's. Both of us have well water. My husband and our children are, we all drink our well water. We don't buy bottled water. Facility classification and setbacks. The justification report indicates that inclusions of a smoking room in the arbitor, which under provincial guidelines should reclassify the facility as a class 2 freestanding meat plant, not a class 1. This reclassification typically requires a greater setback distances from sensitive receptors, including residents. Approving a lower setback may be inconsistent with applicable regulations and inadequate to protect neighborhood amenities. We're also concerned, and it's not in here because it come to light with some more research. Their previous building burned down twice. I know they weren't the owners of once, but now we have fire concerns. There's no fire hydrants out there. The well across the road isn't sufficient to put out a fire. What's to say if they lost their building twice before that their regulations that they're not going to have a fire. We have gravel pits and fields all around us, so that impacts all of our land due to the increased risk of fire. We are concerned with property value impacts. Quite honestly, who wants to live across from a slaughterhouse or an arbitrary or a butcher shop? They smell really bad. We own significant land ourselves. Travis and I own 45 acres. There is the potential at the back of our property to put in a subdivision along with Debbie and Glenn's, so that impacts all of our family and it impacts our children from making future buyers to want to live across from that. So that is affecting our future development. I'm not going to read everything I wrote land to land in this letter because it says everything. Traffic and road safety. We already noticed that there's an increase in traffic after Rajat's opened. We have transports that sit across our house alongside the road that is damaging Countryman Road significantly. There's nowhere for these transports to park. They park overnight. It's almost caused lots of accidents. Yeah, we're gonna have meat trucks and everything else going in there. My son has almost been hit by a school bus from people turning in. There's no turning lane coming from south into there. So we would propose that if this was to come, that there needs to be another turning lane coming from the south in towards Tweed on the highway. Because there's lots of congestions. And we just want to say, given the common impacts described, persistent odor, risk of water contamination, improper facility classification, loss of property value, reduced development potential, and traffic hazard, the proposed arbitrary is not compatible with neighboring residential land use and proposes substantial risk to the health, environment, and amenity of our community. I strongly urge the planning authority to reject this application or at minimum require a comprehensive independent review, including all the setbacks. So that's all we have to say. We just want to be very well that they're opposed.
Thank you. Thank you. Was this circulated to MCO?
Yeah.
Anything back? Oh, but there's no other comments came back, other,
There's no additional comments except for this traffic study completed by the applicant.
right, okay.
I thought there was something else before.
No.
So. Hello, I'm Joanna Swayze. I live directly across and the proposed site. I mean, directly.
Sorry, can you just pull that down, Joanna?
Pull it down.
There you go, right
Okay.
there. Good, thank you.
So obviously, I'm 100% opposed. Number one, I'm vegetarian. I'm against any animal killing, including flies, ants, everything. So I don't want to look out at an innocent animal who hasn't done anything wrong getting butchered at a slaughterhouse. You can call it a nice name, but it's a slaughterhouse, that's the thing. So I am 100% opposed to this and will fight it all I can. And the homes have spelled out everything that I agree with. So I was talking about the view, you know, my notes say about the view from 37. If you're coming from Toronto and you can go past it, is that what you want to see in Tweed? It's a slaughterhouse as you enter Tweed? Is that the main thing? Why don't we have a nice park? Fountains and flowers and something. We have a killing spot. It's not what I want. We've already got one. Why? And it's for sale. So why aren't they buying the other slaughterhouse?
back to me, please.
Pardon?
Keep your questions.
Oh,
sweet.
sorry, I didn't mean it, I'm just
I
talking
understand.
generally, but I heard it's been for sale, and at least it's not in the public view. That is my big concern. Where this proposed is, and I understand that not everybody's on my way of thinking. But you don't have to show it off. And I went on about the smell, but it's been, that's understandable. And people were bringing up about flies as well. You know, I live directly on 37. Am I gonna get a bunch of flies from this? I don't know. And I was worried about the number of the water and the drainage, but it's been talked about. I don't think it's good for Tweed. We don't need it. Also, one of my main concerns, and I don't have any money other than my property that I live on and the house. And my daughter is going to inherit this. Hopefully not too soon, but the land prices, I mean, who would want to buy it directly across from a slaughterhouse? I mean, would you? I don't think anybody would. The price and who's going to pay the difference in the value of my property? The homes had the same concern. If they ever had to leave, nobody wants to be near them. Those, you know, the slaughterhouse. So I just wonder who's on our side. I'm talking about council or people in the know. It's all right to have it, but it is affecting other people. I just think that I'm not against them. I don't mean it that way. I just think they should be more secluded in an isolated area, so they're not interfering with anybody else. It's pretty well.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing? Go ahead, if you would, and state your name, please.
I'm Doug Benjamin. I live right beside the proposed abattoir. I'm not against the abattoir or the meat cutting plant. But as far as slaughterhouse, we have 3 already in the area. We have Bobby, you have Hastings Meat Packing, and you have Lewis down there. It's just a small operation. I'm sure they can pick the cattle and that they have to get slaughtered to keep their meat up. And as we all know, it's flies. Like, I just got rid of a bunch of fly problem at my property. If you put that in, you're gonna have nothing but flies flying around. And if I want to develop my property, say I want to close my pit, I want to develop my property down the road, then I have another hurdle to jump. And traffic down the road, flies, and like if Kara wants to build a plant, a slaughterhouse, build it right. My suggestion is up by her place, out of sight, out of mind. You can transport the quarters or the halves down to there. You can have yourself a store, cutting room and stuff. That's fine, but I just don't want that being close to my property and maybe affecting my well at the shop. Get pumping a lot of water. And if they put a wastewater pond in, my son works at Black Diamond. He said just go down there and smell at night all the smell from that wastewater from just washing in at the plant. So that's pretty much my concerns.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you. Anyone else?
What, Dan?
Well, oh, just a sec, unless there's somebody that hasn't been up there yet.
Go ahead.
Okay,
Sure.
go ahead. Can I, and then you can, but we'll just,
We'll see what he's.
okay.
So I'm Jim McComb. Does that sound okay?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's good, thanks.
So I'm a director with the Beef Farmers of Hastings County, but I'm also a professional agrologist. And I have an agricultural degree as well, and I'm a certified nutrient management planner and certified wetland evaluator. So I deal with zoning quite a bit and MDS setbacks with Hastings County. I appreciate what I'm speaking in support of Enright's proposal. It's going to be a modern facility, and it's going to have a lot of rules and regulations applied to it according to the newer regulations, including safety and environmental and fire. I'm glad to see Rashad supporting this. It's right across from their business, so it's not I'm seeing that they're not seeing an impact on their business. May I read the
Yes,
the letter from Beef Farmers of Hastings? So this is on behalf of our president, Daryl Russett. To whom it may concern, I am writing on behalf of Beef Farmers of Hastings County to express our support for the zoning amendment application for the proposed abattoir in Tweed. As per Ontario Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Agribusiness 2024 county profiles, Hastings County has 878 farms, with the top 3 economic contributions in 2023 of grains, oilseeds, cattle, dairy. The importance of the abattoir is to the local agriculture community and the broader regional community is paramount for our farming industry and community. The new abattoir will offer employment opportunities both directly and indirectly. Directly, the abattoir will offer job creation opportunities, including those needed for skilled labor in processing, packaging, and logistics. Indirectly, local suppliers, including equipment providers and service companies, will benefit from the presence of an abattoir. In Hastings County, 78.1% of the farms are considered small farms, less than 100,000 in revenue. As per OMAP 2024 county profile, the local abattoir would play a critical role in supplying, in supporting small farms and medium scale beef farms by providing access to local processing. Having provincially inspected abattoirs nearby increases efficiency, reduces transportation costs, and supports the local farming community. Daryl and Kara Enright of Enright Cattle Company is a local farming operation in Tweed, Ontario. They were the owners and operators of Quinn's Meats in Yarker, Ontario. They are hoping to relocate the abattoir to Tweed after years of experience being operating and managing abattoirs, including the waste products. Sustainability and environment are very important to Enright Cattle Company, not just for their family farm, but for the community and the future agriculture, but also for the abattoir. It is our understanding that waste products will be contained in refrigerated cooler and picked up twice weekly by a rendering company, and steps will be taken to ensure odor control. And as a sidebar, that will control the flies. Daryl and Kara Enright, owner and operator. Thank you for your time and consideration for the proposal. We are certain this project aligns with the goals of local economic development, sustainability, and community well-being. With respect, Daryl Russett, President, Hastings County Beef Farmers. I'd also like to add that last year, beef farmers in Ontario faced closure of a large plant in southern Ontario, and we have a problem when a large plant closes because the cattle keep growing, and to have quality meat that our consumers expect, they have to be processed in a timely manner. So in this case, we had to once again, which we have many times, relied on our local small processors to help us through a time crunch and even during COVID, we had quite backup of processing. It's our small processors that are able to carry the burden of looking after our processing. So with that, I'll conclude, and I'm happy to answer any questions afterwards or whatever anybody likes.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, and I'd like to add, I don't work for Enright Cattle. I'm independent.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you. Anyone else who hasn't spoken or, go ahead.
I'm Barry Whittle. I live on Countryman Road. The only question that I really have is has there been a proper, or is there going to be a proper traffic study? Because when I moved in on Countryman Road 14 years ago, I could enjoy it. I could not sit out front now for truck traffic, car traffic. And are we going to have a proper study? That's my only question.
Yeah, it's been done and submitted, and
Okay,
it's
thank
been
you.
forwarded to the Ministry of Transportation as well.
But I mean on Countryman Road,
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood that. That's a good question. I
because
won't have I don't have an answer to that. I don't.
the
know.
traffic starts going by my house at 6 in the morning and quits at about 7 at night. And there's speeds from 50 to 150 kilometers an hour going by. We have small kids down the street living. And any animals that are out on the road, God help them.
Okay, no,
Thank
okay,
you.
thank you for putting it down. Anyone, Karen?
No, people are.
Karen, go ahead.
I think Carrie, you probably want to answer in response to some of these things.
Sure.
And we'll have time to get out there.
All right, I'll go and
Yeah, there,
we'll be playing.
you don't have an option.
No. Sure.
No, you don't.
I just have a couple of points. My wife said everything we need to say, but the traffic study, I'm Travis Holmes, by the way. The traffic study was done February 29th and March 2nd. Now that's winter. I don't know whether consideration was taken that it's gonna be for an abattoir or whether it was for Christopher's storage facility or what that was. And Barry does have a point. Was anything considered about Countryman Road? Because that road has been damaged. There has been meetings in the building about the damage to that road and who should pay for it. So it should be taken into consideration. Now, my other point my wife hit on was the EP zone across. There's a culvert that drains from this property right to the EP zone that follows our property to the lake, it drains directly to the lake. Now, this should be away from sensitive areas. And I would consider an EP zone a sensitive area, otherwise why is it an EP zone? Like, it's dedicated EP for a reason. Now, if you're just gonna say whatever, who cares, then get away with the EP zone, I will love that, get rid of it. That's a large majority of my property. Then I can have it alien, just get rid of it, please, if that's what you wanna do. Thank you, that's all I gotta say.
Thanks. Anyone else who has not spoken? Would you, Dale?
Yeah.
Could you address some of the issues, some clarification, or did Kara want to do that?
I can start.
Or you want to come together?
I'll start and then I guess Kara can jump in.
Okay,
So we did hear some concerns. So I guess just to start at the last comment there about the EP zone. So essentially, like as part of the abattoir, all the operations will be indoor. Any liquid that's through the slaughtering process that's collected will be collected in like a self-sealed tank. And then the Enrights will have that pumped out. That is not going to go into the waterways. That's not the plan here. Basically, anything that's going to go into the stormwater management ponds should come from the parking area or from the rooftop of the building. That's all going to be collected and it's going to be pooled in the stormwater pond and then released at the pre-development flows back across through the outlet across Highway 37. So really, there shouldn't be any concern in that front. But as we did discuss, there will be a hydrogeological study done to just review the potential impact of the groundwater as well as testing the water. In terms of wells going dry, I can't speak to that. I'm not a hydrogeologist, unfortunately. So I just can't speak to that. But when they do a hydrogeological study, typically the hydrogeologist goes out to adjacent landowners and will ask them to monitor the wells. So when they pump down the Enright's well, then they would be testing the neighboring wells as well to see how that pumping impacts their well. So that would be a study done later on to essentially remove the holding symbol and just ensure that there's sufficient water. In terms of there's a wastewater pond was referenced in Black Diamond. There's no wastewater pond proposed here. It would be in a self-sealed contained. Also, there was discussion about fire protection. So site plan control will be necessary to allow for this development. As part of that, I would anticipate that the Enrights will have to supply a source of on-site water supply. And I would expect that to be in the form of a cistern, but that would ultimately depend on the hydrogeological study. So that would all be reviewed through site plan control. And I'm more than sure that Tweed's Fire Department would review and provide comment on that as part of the site plan control process. But I would anticipate on-site water is going to be supplied through a cistern, as that's typically the method for fire protection in the rural area. Sorry, Karen, is there anything you want to jump in and say?
Well, when you're done, I'll.
Okay.
Smoker versus oven.
Sure, I can touch on that. Yeah, I think, yeah. Go ahead, Kara.
Sorry, so I'm Kara Enright, and to touch on the smoker, Dale was just asking me like how to describe it. It is a smoker. In our previous facility, it was electric, so there's no emissions, and it was liquid smoke. So what was released out is just basically a pressure buildup from the heat inside. It vented outside, and yes, you did smell it when you come to the store, and we were smoking like the bacon or whatever. You could smell bacon cooking, similar to if you walk into a bakery and they have bread in the ovens, you smell the bread baking. It's that's, you know, what you smelt when you walked in. How far will that travel? I don't know. Like it's like having a barbecue on your back deck. How many neighbors can smell it when you're barbecuing? That will vary depending on your wind speed and the direction of the wind. As far as the water is concerned, I guess the hydro-G study has to pass, of course. We're not interested in making anyone's wells dry. Wells that were previously already dry and not functioning and not providing enough water in past summers, that's not going to change. We know that some of the wells in the area were already not sufficient. So we're not interested in taking away more water, of course. We have to make sure that the hydro-G study passes, and that will be provided by the person that we hire. The wastewater, we have to contain everything. OMAFRA will not let us just let it go. Like everything happens inside the building. So the wastewater is all controlled. And as far as seeing what you see when you pass by, there's large processors like St. Helens and Riding Regency. They actually operate downtown Toronto. And they're harvesting thousands of animals a week. When you walk by them, you don't know what you're walking by. So it's different when you can have it processed where you're not going to know, like you're not going to see animals. You're not going to see them. They're going to be on the trailer. They're unloaded into a building. You're not going to see them there. You're not going to see.
Okay. Are you okay to drive?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not going to be an eyesore for the community. It's a building. We're going to have a nice retail frontage. It's something that will add to the community, not take away from it. And just speaking on community, where we were in Yarker, we were a staple. Oh.
My job.
Go ahead, I think.
We were a staple in the community. So we helped out many different organizations. We worked together with them. The community is quite disappointed that we're not coming back. That's how we operate. We're not here to make enemies. We don't want to have, a bunch of people against us or whatever. we want to help the community and be part of it and give back and provide in any way we can and improve it. We're not looking to do the opposite. And if you were to go to any of the community members down at Yarker, you could be verified by that that's how we operate, to help and improve the community. And in fact, right beside us, and so we only had like 3 acres down there as well. And so it was narrow lot. On the other side of the rail fence, which my office looked out into, is a lavender farm. He actually built the lavender farm after us because the abattoir's been there since 1970s. He moved down from Toronto. He built a lavender farm and hosts outdoor events. They host high-end weddings, high-end events. You don't choose to do that beside a location that meets some of the descriptions that are being thrown out today. Like, it's people pay a lot of money to come and enjoy that facility, and you don't do that when literally on the other side of the rail fence, and I'm talking 30 feet away, is the abattoir that is supposedly not friendly. I think that's everything, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. Anyone who hasn't spoke that has something new to ask or to add? Anyone? Okay. Committee members. Jim, anything?
I think the only, the perspective I take from being on the planning committee is that, I can appreciate neighbors having concerns when new things happen beside them. I would as well. I talked to Peter this morning, said if there's something going in beside me that was different than was there before, I would express concern, so it would be noted in the files. But I also trust the process, mostly, and I think from our planning perspective, if the new facilities fall within the guidelines of the zoning that's been, it was rural industrial before and it's rural industrial now. I suspect that new abattoirs are built to a very, very high standard. We've all seen places we wouldn't want to live beside, but in terms of trusting the process and trusting the rules that are laid before us, and the zoning guidelines, I think that's the approach we have to take as a planning committee. As long as we fall within the rules and the regulations, I would expect the impacts to the neighbors would be minimal. The hydro-G, I think, is really important. Water is the most critical thing for any of us at our homes in rural community, in rural residences. So that hydro-G is super important, I think, for the applicant and for the residents. So I hope we can go through the process and find something that satisfies everybody.
Jack?
I agree with Jim, and I really appreciate all the concerns people have, but it is a permitted use in our municipality.
Roxanne?
Same thing. I agree with Jim. And again, I have a well, so that would be my main concern, that it wouldn't affect the water because it's precious. Numerous summers I've had to put bowls out and buckets out just to collect some water, just to, my well thankfully has never run dry, but you just never know. So, but that study will, once that study comes in, then that's it.
Peter?
First, I want to say the benefit of going last is everybody's kind of said what I want to say, but I do have maybe, Mr. Egan, you could just clarify for everybody in the room right now. So there's obviously a significant amount of regulatory steps that have to happen for a abattoir to be put in place. So you talked about OMAFA, fire, there would obviously be building. What other regulatory groups would step in and guide this process to the highest standard possible to eliminate any of the issues that were brought up today?
Certainly, that's a great question. So I'll quickly speak to the municipal approval side of things, and then I'll probably ask Kara to speak to the OMAFA, their guidelines, because I don't get into that as part of like the whole
Then I should have
operation. But that's okay. We can get Kara up here in a second. So basically, the next, like, assuming the application is approved and there's a holding symbol that needed to be removed while pending the completion of the hydrogeological study, that would be the next step. So is to conduct that hydrogeological study and then remove the holding symbol, provided that study is satisfactory. And then it would be site plan approval. So it would be site plan approval with the municipality of Tweed. And that would look at the detailed design of the site, where fire protection is, water services, septic system, and then the stormwater management at a fine very fine level of detail. And that would all be done with the municipality of Tweed. And then once site plan approval is in place, then a building permit could be issued. But as we're doing that, the Enrights would also have to get approval from OMAFA for the abattoir. And maybe at this point, Carrie, you could speak to some of the requirements from OMAFA and what the licensing is like and their operational standards.
So OMAFRA has to approve of your whole design and layout, and that includes everything right down to airflow, your water, wastewater, how you're containing that, how you're separating out the blood has to be separate from your other wastewater. And they go through everything, lighting, airflow. So they want your air quality going in a certain direction, you know, from the dirtiest area being like from your clean to the dirty. And we have to provide a diagram of the layout. They go through everything, and this is like an engineered diagram, and they provide you the feedback of all the things that they think have to be adjusted or changed or not met appropriately. And then you go back to your engineer and you change all that. You send it back to them again. So it's this back and forth until they are happy that it meets all of their standards, but they cover everything, like right down to, you know, your electrical plugins and everything. But from major things as far as like water and waste separation and containment to where the hand wash stations are going. So
Just a little follow-up to that. So if this is successful and you're up and running, there must be an ongoing inspection process.
yes.
Other than by public health.
Oh, we're above public health. We're inspected by the province every week. We have an inspector in there, and they're there once a week, and then they also come in randomly throughout the month, and then once a year we're subject to an out of it's hired outside of OMAFRA. Another inspector comes in and they do a massive audit on you once a year, and then you're provided with a list of all these things that they've found that need to be changed or updated, and you're only given us like a certain amount of time to get that done. So we're very heavily regulated.
And I have one last thing. As far as liquids that are you know, you're hosing down the room and cleaning things, so that doesn't go into the septic bed, nor does that go into like groundwater runoff. That is captured and is also taken away, from my understanding.
Yeah, so nothing from the building would go into groundwater runoff other than like your eaves trough, right? So inside the building, the blood and the wash water from like harvesting room would all be contained in a separate area, and that would be pumped out and taken away. And then your gray water and just washing like of your equipment, your butcher blocks and stuff like that. There's filters and screens on all of your drains, because you don't want any like pieces of meat or fat plugging up your drainage, right? So we have traps on all those, and then that goes with your gray water into your septic bed. But that's just like your general cleaning, like a butcher shop sort of thing. Anything from the harvest area is separate, and that has to be taken away separately.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I have a question about the hydro study. Is that, are you underway with contacting someone, or are there dates, like what?
Yeah, it's been it has started. We've contacted the person and the company, and they've started doing their stuff.
Have they started testing the well gas?
Excuse me. Excuse me.
You can't do that.
I can't do that.
It's gotta go up and talk to me. Otherwise, it ends up in a free-for-all. Trust me, we've had them. So your question would then,
I just asked if they'd already started pumping the well out on their site then.
it sounds like no, they're in the process now of setting the parameters of what the study will be and when it will be taking place. Is that correct?
Care about that?
Just
Yesterday, there was a person there at the wellhead. They told me they were going to start doing whatever. I don't know the exact procedures of what all they do, but there was a car there yesterday looking at the well. And I don't know, they haven't been in touch with me since to say what they actually were doing yesterday. But we have hired someone to start the study.
Go ahead.
He said that there'd be notifications going out when that study was being conducted, but your well today is being pumped out. So if it was started yesterday,
I think what she said was that's the only information that she currently has. So clearly it's a call that you need to make to find out what's what. It's- She obviously can't answer it. The guy, whoever is not here. Yeah, okay. Chris,
Spear Galloway did contact to ask permission to monitor our well. I don't know when, but I just gave them kind of a blank slate to go and whenever they need to monitor the well. So
okay. So that Greer Galloway is the company. Okay. Okay, thank you. Committee members, anything more? Okay. So what's before the committee now is to decide what recommendation we make to council. And we can include a number of things, which I think we've been, Quinte Conservation has no objection to the application. Hastings County Planning says that they have demonstrated demonstrating the development meets the policies and is in good planning. The development and zoning bylaw amendment is subject to the hydrological study, which is starting. The industrial land use setbacks or sensitive land uses have been met and justified in the appropriate reports that were presented to the committee and also to council. The traffic analysis and stormwater assessment has been completed. The planning justification report has demonstrated how the proposed development meets the official plan zoning bylaw provisions, along with the discussion that we've had today and the information and clarification. So, is the committee comfortable with a motion today to council on August the 12th, suggesting to them that they continue with the application, provided that the hydrological study is completed and conditions are explained and met, and that no holding zones be removed until such time, and that a full site plan be included that also includes and recognizes the OMAFRA conditions so that they would come together, and that council proceed in that vein. Now, having said all this, they can say no. They can say, we want to wait, we want more information. But what we have to do today is decide, do we advance that further so that more information can be provided? And my sense of the committee is that you're comfortable with the presentation and that we want to advance this on to
Yes.
council.
Yes.
Make it council's responsibility. So a motion then would read, be it resolved that the Committee of Adjustment Planning recommend that council approve zoning amendment ZA 1425 with the following conditions as outlined. Are there any other conditions that the committee wants to put on? Oh, I think we also need to add a condition about there has to be an investigation into Countryman Road, the traffic issues there. Now, I'm not saying a complete traffic study, but certainly Public Works maybe could take a look at what's going on there. Are you comfortable with adding that? Peter?
There is I would have to figure out how to read it, but
Okay,
in the traffic study, they do talk about traffic flows and what it is currently and what it's forecast to 2028, 2038. So that may already exist.
well, that's if they take, Lucas?
I was just gonna add to the chair, I don't know if the applicant or the consultant can speak to that from the traffic study.
Okay,
Thank you. So a traffic study was completed. It was originally completed with the previous development proposal, and then it was updated by the consultant to reflect the traffic generation from the abattoir and retail butcher shop. So that was updated to reflect that. Essentially, the traffic study has identified there are no road improvements required to Countryman Road or Highway 37 to allow for this proposed development. So it has identified no impacts from this development on the road network. But it sounds like there's an existing problem with speeders and perhaps volume, and it sounds like that's more of a municipality Tweed Public Works matter rather than involving it in the Planning Act application.
So I
Thank you.
think then we include a condition that Public Works take a look at the issues to see if there is anything further. If we're gonna do it, we might as well go for broke. It doesn't require an additional traffic study. It doesn't involve amendments or anything. It's strictly Public Works. Okay. Everybody in the committee,
So are we just recommending Public Works have a look at that road for the impact current businesses are having on it? And
Yes.
it's not affiliated with the.
no. No. You okay with that? Committee members, you okay with that? Okay, mover, Roxanne, seconded by Peter. All those in favor? Carried. So this item will go forward to council on August the 12th. And all of the opinions, the letters, documents that were submitted will be included in the package. If there's anything further that you wish to have go in addition to what happened here today, you'd need to get that into Lucas by next Friday, right?
Get to Lori.
Or to Lori.
August 5th. will
Okay,
be the
so
cutoff date.
you'd have to get all of those comments and everything in by August the 5th to Lori. Okay. Okay, thank you for attending. We appreciate it. You're welcome to stay for the next exciting item on the agenda. Or if you, okay, thanks, everybody. We'll take a break.
Does the committee, yeah, I was just gonna ask if you want to recess.
Yes,
Yeah.
let's just take a break to give people an opportunity. Okay. Item number 7 on the agenda. Items for consideration, the official plan amendment 14, the OPA number 14. Be it resolved, Committee of Adjustment Planning received the official plan amendment 14 from Hastings County Planning. Mover and seconder, Roxanne, seconded by Peter. Okay. So the documents here was included. This is an FYI. Basically. Lucas, was there anything else you wanted us to be?
I'll just highlight quickly to the committee two components. The first is we're going to have some clarity around second dwelling units and additional residential units. There's been a number of Planning Act amendments over the last year and a half, and this amendment to the OP will allow us to then update our zoning bylaw and be consistent in the approach across the county. It's a little bit broken right now in terms of how we're looking at these types of things. So this will provide some clarity for staff and a policy perspective moving forward. The second component is the delegated authority section of the official plan. We may, once this is in place and take something to council in maybe the next 6 months or so, depending on the timelines of this, there may be a larger role for this committee in approving minor zoning bylaw amendments as well moving forward. We'll just kind of have to see what council's direction is on that. There's going to be the ability to have some more delegated authority. So this committee could actually pass some minor zoning bylaw amendments. Major ones, like we just heard today, would obviously be going to council. I would consider a minor zoning bylaw amendment to be something like a condition of severance, that this committee could actually approve and pass the bylaw for those. Just keep council meetings a little bit more focused on regular business. Those are the only two things that I was going to highlight from that report.
All right, comments from committee before we vote on it? No? No one? Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Carried. Yep. Minor variance meeting. So that concludes the planning portion of the meeting. We'll adjourn that. Item number 8 in the agenda, minor variance A225. So applicant 976777 Ontario Inc. The address is 55 French Settlement Road. Purpose of the application is to provide relief from section 5.25.2 of bylaw 2012-30 amended by bylaw 2024-56 section 5.54.1 to allow a detached accessory additional dwelling unit in a front yard approximately 100-foot setback from French Settlement Road. We have a mover, a seconder, moved by Jack, seconded by Jim. Chris, do you want to come up and speak to the application?
Just to note before we start that Councillor Valakat, just a reminder.
He can't
not
participate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I'm ignoring him.
I am.
It's just like being at home.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, thank you again. I am looking at my residence on 55 French Settlement Road. Originally, we were looking to possibly doing just a detached garage, but because of some family circumstances, we're looking to build on an addition or with the garage, like an in-law suite for my mother-in-law. And the way my house is, it's set back quite a ways from the road. I think it's well over 600 feet. And it's just a funny angle that my house is on that kind of puts, I would consider it a side yard. The municipality considers it a front yard, hence why I'm here. And so I'm just asking for relief from that in order to build the garage to kind of towards the side of my house. The reason I can't go back any farther is because of the elevations of the house. It's a walkout, so it drastically drops off on a hill. If I was to go back any farther, and there's also a tree line there, so actually the whole kind of build would be completely hidden from the road, and it's set quite a ways back. So I just appreciate your consideration on that. Thank you.
Committee members, questions, comments, anything? Jim, Jack, sorry.
Yeah. When I was at Riva Veldever, we passed a bylaw that long as the utility building or something was set back more than 80 feet from the railroad road or 50 feet, we allowed it. And it worked great, but then when we amalgamated with Tweed, they wouldn't hear tell what the things. But I'm in favor of this application because it's set back and it's hidden and everything, but I think we should consider making that so they don't have to go through all these rezoning and committee of adjustment.
Jim?
Given the configuration of this property, I have no difficulty with it. I like the idea of second dwellings on properties and you build the house set for far back. It's entirely reasonable to have this particular. One.
Roxanne?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
I feel the same. All those in favor? Carried. Thank you. Lucas will tell you next steps, which I'm sure you probably know in your sleep, but you should. Okay, so that concludes Committee of Adjustment. Staff updates. Until the next time. Motion to adjourn. Jim, Roxanne, all those in favor? Carried. The meeting is concluded. Thank